welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It is good to have you. So this is something I know you see women and men saying, help. I love my hair, but I'm losing it. So I want to talk about the different approaches that you take. Let's start with you. You love hair.
Yes.
And tried all kinds of products, right? And said, let me just start mixing some stuff at the house. Tell me about your story.
Well, Portia, my dream came to when I was in Philadelphia and I started making the products for the kids. I had it was called Oria's Kids Salon, and I wanted them to have something natural. So I created this product called Oria's Shea. The parents loved it, and not only did they love it, but they saw the lasting
What
of
did
the
you
styles.
put in it? What did you make? What was it about it that made the parents go, oh wait, what'd you put in my baby's head?
Well, I took it back to old school. I got my cosmetology license before I even got my high school diploma. And I remember all the natural things that we used to have just before there was any brand name.
Yeah, where there were shelves dedicated to black hair care.
So, but I never knew about shea butter until I moved to Philadelphia. And they was talking about shea butter. And I was like, well, what is this shea butter? So when I started playing with shea butter, I just started adding olive oil, coconut oil, all the things that I knew was good that you could put inside, I just wanted to put on the outside. Plus I was dealing with the kids.
Right.
So that's how it started. So I ended up doing 13 different ingredients, and it came out to be a wonderful product, and the kids' hair started growing, and this is the result.
The mamas were like, I love it, I love it, I love it,
Yes.
right? You came up with a special potion that everybody loved there,
Yes.
Billy. So let's talk about what you do that is different, right? Because sometimes we know the products are going to be great, and sometimes you have to go to a different level, right?
Right, correct. So when someone comes to see me as a trichologist, I'm also a cosmetologist, but over the years, as I was growing and getting older and maturing, so were my clients.
Right.
So there was a different need taking place because the body changes every 7 years, the hormones shift. And so you have to be able to ride that wave when the shift comes. So as a trichologist, I was able to examine going beyond what we're putting on the hair externally, but what's happening with inside the body.
And a lot of different things can happen, right? You've got alopecia, you've got bald spots. Talk about some of the different issues that lead to hair loss in women and men.
And women and men, absolutely. So when it comes to hair loss, when it comes to women, think about it. We carry the world on our shoulders. We're taking care of our kids. Stress, number one. Life is changing. So from 20 to 40, there may have been a shift in lifestyle.
Responsibilities.
Yes.
Bills.
And then of course we go to things that are going to be more practical for us to do for our time sakes, like braids, wearing different protective styles, as they call it.
Right.
And so that is worn very, very thin on our clients over the years.
And I feel like that's a big deal, especially with a lot of my friends. We love our natural hair, and sometimes, you know, we are doing different things, exploring with different styles, wigs, weaves, and everything else. But you're braiding underneath, there's that tension, there's all the product that you put on, that just starts to weigh on your hairline. And I'll be honest, it's making me nervous to watch what happens with my hairline. What do you say to your clients in your different industries about maintaining the health of your hairline? Because you can't just keep putting stuff on it and not caring for the hair and the scalp, right?
That's correct.
Well, the biggest thing that I share with my clients is when you get older, you know that you're going to start losing hair. That's a given. When I created my product, I focused it on women over 50 because of the simple fact I knew that I was going to go down that path too, so I want to be prepared.
Right.
So when I tell my clients, stay away from your hairline, just whatever you do, please stay away from your hairline. So that's when I created products that gear to the scalp. Not maintaining for shampoo and conditioner, that's beautiful because I have that too, but the scalp. Because if you don't have a great foundation, you have nothing. The hair is not going to grow.
Yeah, and let's talk about, Tara, the diet component of maintaining healthy, you know, skin, scalp, hair.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we see is inflammation in the body. And
explain. What do you mean?
Such a in society where we're just on the go,
right?
We're not eating whole foods. So our diets consist of high sugary diets, high animal fat protein. We're talking about fast food, McDonald's, and things of that nature, and eating the wrong things. So what happens is within the body, it's going to shift the hormones, and when the hormones are shifted, then of course the way that our hair grows, right?
Yeah.
So it affects our health. So of course it's going to affect our hair.
And so the one question every woman, and men have this issue as well, is trying to get it back, right? When you see that little follicle come out after you've got it braided too tight, you're like, oh no, that one's gone forever. Isn't that usually the case?
It's not always permanent. Hair loss is not always permanent. However, but when you see some of the symptoms taking place, such as excessive shedding and things of that nature, then you want to make sure you're proactive.
And that's what we're going to keep talking about, this concept of being proactive, right? You've got products, you've got treatments, you've got all kinds of things that we can do. We're going to keep talking about this. But when we return, you're going to meet Vernon. He was in his 30s when he started to notice something he never expected: a thinning hairline. So how did he cope? We're talking about that next on Portia.
So you like the show? Then let's connect on social media. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Portia TV Show.
Welcome back to the conversation. We are talking to Maria Lee Driver, who created a hair care product after trying several others on the market that didn't suit her needs, and then everybody in the neighborhood loves the product. She's in stores all over the place. And then there's Tara Oliver. She's a trichologist. That's someone who specializes in hair loss treatment. And joining the conversation is Vernon Brooks. He's in his 30s and said he's never even expected that he would be dealing with hair loss as an issue. So it's important to know that women aren't the only people dealing with this. So welcome, Vernon. I appreciate you being willing to talk about this.
Thank you, Portia.
We don't always hear men talking about it, just handling it at the barbershop, just go bald and keep it moving. What was this like for you?
It was eye-opening, to be honest. You never think you're gonna get older until you get older.
This is true. You are in your late 30s now, but you started noticing this a few years ago, right? Early 30s?
Correct.
And tell me, where the hairline, crown, where?
I had hair for a long time, so I was getting braids, cornrows, so I was assuming it came from, the tugging and the pulling.
The tension on the hairline.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have never did that if I, if I knew, but
what we know.
It really started like thinning around the top, the middle section.
Let me ask you this. The men in your life, full heads of hair or thinning as well? Or had you noticed until you got to this point?
Well, my uncle, let him tell it. He got a head full of hair, but he's bald.
Okay, because he's shaving it.
But my dad has his hair. He has locks, actually. So it's
then they say for men, right, it actually comes as the predictor is what your mother's father looks like in often cases, right? So sometimes that's something to think about as well. So how have you been dealing with it? Because you said, I'm holding on, I'm a handsome young man, I'm keeping my hair, right?
Right.
So what did you do?
Oria's Shea. I've been working with that. She has an oil also called Oh My Scalp, so I've been using that very often, and it's been filling in. It's not growing back like you want it to go.
Right. Like, sometimes once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah,
but it's just that sense of feeling like there's something that we can do about it, right?
Correct. And it is doing something. Yeah.
And did it affect your self-esteem at all? How did you feel like, oh my gosh, or were you like, all right, this is just part of life?
Well, when my hair was thinning, I used to feel myself. I used to be so charismatic, confident, but that kind of shot me down a little bit.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it shouldn't. You are a very handsome man, and you still have a whole lot of charisma. I know you're toning it down for the show, but that is something that happens, right, with men and women, and I'm
Correct.
sure you both see that in what you do for a living, particularly in your work in hair loss treatment, right?
Absolutely.
Explain.
Yes, I treat a lot of men in my clinic, and so they come in and they have some of the same concerns, or were wearing their hair the same way Vernon was, with locks and braids, and that's creating tension on the hair.
And I think that's kind of sneaks up on men more so than women,
They're not
right? We kind of
expecting
know and braid at your own risk, or hey, try not to do it too tight, but men aren't thinking about it as much, right?
Correct. And they're putting it on top ponytails or top knots, and that's creating tension and a central point on the top of the crown, which normally creates this androgenetic alopecia. that we see.
Androgenetic alopecia, explain that.
Well, that's when you have crowning or thinning at the top of the crown, or also known as male pattern baldness or female pattern baldness.
And so do you find that men are as comfortable as women saying, listen, I need to figure this out, I need to find some kind of products? Is that something that men are more vocal about now?
Yes, because I have many men that contact me and say, is there anything you can do for this? Or if I'm doing a presentation, they'll pull me to the side and they'll pull their hat off and says, what can we do with this? Before, like Vernon said, it was taboo. They didn't want to talk about it. We know we're losing it, but I'll just put a hat on it. You won't even see it.
But then, of course, everybody's looking at your beautiful hair and like, make mine look like that, right? But I want to speak to that, though. Do you find that men talk about this more comfortably now?
It's more jokes than
barbershop jokes.
Right. It's more jokes than conversation about what really works to get it back. But
So it's not like your friends are talking about, yeah, I tried this product and it worked. Everybody's just sort of kind of quietly going through it.
right.
Gotcha. You ever thought about completely shaving it off? Not ready. That's not the direction you're ready to go in. I understand, and nor should you.
Yeah.
It looks great exactly the way it is. All right, so
Thank you.
listen, we're going to keep this conversation going. Learning so much. This is so interesting. All right, don't go anywhere. If you're not sure if you need a trichologist, well, Tara is going to tell us what we need to know. We're going to hear from a woman who is dealing with a different kind of skin condition. And look at all of these products. There's so much out there. How do you get a sense of what is best for you? What's going to make your hair healthy and be good for your scalp? We're talking about all that coming up. Welcome back to the table. We are talking to Maria Lee Driver, who designed a special hair care line, trichologist Tara Oliver, and joining us is cosmetologist Letitia Allen Joseph, who suffers from dry skin. It's a common condition for a lot of viewers out there, and we're glad that you are joining this conversation because it is part of the overall health and wellness of our hair, our skin. Tell me about your situation.
Absolutely. Well, it was 2016 when Maria and I met. She walked into the salon in which I owned in Tyrone, Georgia, and I had a shea butter on my shelves, but she convinced me to try hers.
Okay.
And basically I did. I tried it out, and I was amazed at how it took over all of the
But tell me
products.
about the issues you were dealing with, the physical dry skin.
Absolutely.
Dermatitis, what is it?
Well, it's I would say it's borderline eczema. That's how I because I've never been diagnosed, but I'm constantly dry.
Okay.
I'm constantly itchy. If I miss a day of any type of lotioning, throughout the day I need to reapply.
Itching
Absolutely.
and irritation and everything.
Absolutely. As a child, I had scarlet fever, I had the chicken pox, I had extreme acne, chest, back, the whole nine.
Got it.
So the skin over time.
And so, like
dried
many
out.
men and women, you've spent a lot of time looking at different products and
Correct.
exploring different products. And this is the story of a lot of folks. We all have something, right, that we're trying to figure out. And you've spent all this money trying to find just the right solution. And sometimes that's what it is. It's just having to experiment, right?
Absolutely.
And that's part of the reason why you like to try to encourage folks to try different products, right? And try different ingredients.
Yes, and the main thing is you want to make sure your body and your scalp is moisturized. You hear people say stay away from oil on your scalp. If you have oil that penetrates and goes to the root, That's totally different than putting petroleum jelly like the Vaseline on your skin.
And just letting it stack and stack and stack and stack.
Yes.
And from your perspective as a trichologist, what say you in terms of trying different products and what it looks like?
Absolutely. We want to make sure that we are giving the hair and the scalp what it needs when it needs it. So some of us do that out of routine, but we want to make sure that we create a good hair care regimen for those products, for oiling and moisturizing the hair and scalp.
Right, and and that's being very clear. It varies for different skin types, for different ethnicities. Right? Let's explain. I mean, there's no one size fits all formula for anybody, but it's important to just have conversations, even with professionals and with your friends. What's working for you? Right?
It's even with the hair types. You know, when I wear my hair straight, like it's now, I use less oil. When I wear natural, I use a lot more of my product. Yes.
Right.
And I would even go into the diet, because if we have someone that has a very high animal fat protein diet, they're going to have oily hair and skin. And so it's going to be an overactive sebaceous gland. So they're going to, generate more oil than they need to. So we're trying to create balance, instead of, synergy.
And that balance is really important. Let's talk about when it's time to maybe explore moving away from, spending a lot of money on products and maybe putting some of that money in actually an expert who treats hair loss.
Absolutely.
What are the signs that it's time to, see the professionals?
Well, one main thing is that excessive shedding. So sometimes clients will come in to see me because they've had excessive shedding in the shower, on their bathroom countertops. It's everywhere. It's on their clothes. And so a lot of times those symptoms go ignored, and they're not seeking out help and professional help to find out where is it coming from. Is it coming from health issues, or is it mechanical, what we're doing to our hair? So a lot of times we don't have...
I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Internal versus just the constant something that we're doing wrong. You say that's the same with scalp concerns?
Absolutely. So sometimes it's our frequency of our shampooing. So a lot of times we're not shampooing frequently enough, especially in the African American community.
So let me stop you right there, because you got folks like, I'm not shampooing, I just got this done, I'm gonna go 2 weeks. So what's recommended now? Because it seems like it also depends on how much you put in your hair on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Yes, the scalp is an extension of your skin. So just like we bathe and we provide hygiene on a daily basis, the same thing is needed for the hair and scalp.
Right.
And so we neglect that. And so sometimes on average, some people don't shampoo like they should, and they have a lot of debris and buildup on the hair and the scalp.
So can I put you on the spot? How often do each of you shampoo your hair?
10 days.
Every 10 days. You just make the time to go through the process. How about you?
I actually do 6 weeks, and the reason being is my products penetrates the scalp, so therefore I don't have a buildup.
Gotcha. And how about you?
Myself, I do every 3 to 4 weeks.
Every 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah.
I do not get a heavy buildup in my scalp.
Interesting. All right. We know everybody sort of has a different way. It depends on when I got a Sunday free to do, right? Let's just be honest. Listen, ladies, I have really enjoyed this conversation and learned a lot, and appreciate the different levels of expertise that you bring to this and your own personal experiences. I hope our viewers got a lot out of this as well. All right. We'll be right back.